Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about my paranormal experience that I had when I was younger. It is pretty crazy. It was my first paranormal experience, honestly, and yeah, it's pretty cringe. It's if this is a trigger warning to anybody, I just want to put a disclaimer out there. I'm not putting this out there to scare people or anything like that, or if this topic makes you uncomfortable, I'm not putting this out here to make anybody feel uncomfortable, scared, anything like that. Okay. I'm just telling my personal experience that I had with the paranormal. So I just wanted to share that with you guys today, and that is what we'll be talking about. Okay, so just to give you guys a little bit of a backstory, when I was younger, we lived with my grandma. My mom had 4 kids at the time. We were living in my grandma's basement. She didn't go to high school. Well, she didn't finish high school, didn't go to college, none of that. So she didn't really make enough money to really get her own place, right? So when we were living with my grandma, my mom met this guy. That's a whole nother story. The guy is a terrible person, and I have another story on my channel. It's my Me Too rape story, if you guys are interested in this. And probably I would say about 5 months of him living with us, they both had a job, so they were able to rent a house. So they started looking for houses, and we were actually going to the Herculaneum School District. So great news, they found a house in the Herculaneum School District that would be absolutely perfect to rent for our family. It was nice and cheap, tell you why. It was nice and cheap, and it was right down the street from the school. So it was all around just perfect. The house was a wooden log cabin type style looking house. I will insert a picture in here for you guys. If I can find one, I know I can get one off Google Images, but I will insert one here so you guys can see what the house looked like. It was like a log. Okay. Sorry guys, my camera died. Okay, so with that, the house was beautiful. It was perfect. We were all so excited to get in here, be able to have our friends over. We were so close to school, right down the street from the school. So it was a good place. It was a good area, great house. We loved it. So there was 2 bedrooms upstairs and a bedroom, well, not a bedroom, but a basement. So my 2 brothers, they shared the basement. Now the basement was unfinished. It's like their room was set up, because you go down the stairs and there's like a space right here. And then it's kind of, think of like this. So this is how the basement kind of looked. Now their space was right here, and they had like their bed set right here, TV set up right there, and then all this space right here was just open. And then our laundry area was right here. There was washer and dryer right there, and in the corner right over here there was a giant mirror that just sat there. We assumed that it was from the people that rented before us. And then there also was a bathroom downstairs in the basement as well. Okay. Now, when we moved in, my brother was kind of in that part in his life where he was like starting to smoke weed, hang out with the wrong crowd, that type of thing. So it's weird because my brother also, would have friends over, and then they would just never come back. Like, his friends would come over, stay the night, and then they'd never come over again. Well, at this time, Caleb was like becoming kind of weird. Like, he started playing guitar, and he would sit in his bathroom, in the downstairs bathroom, for hours playing the same tune on his guitar, like for hours. And it's crazy because like he played in that bathroom so much that even nights because it's weird, even nights when he wasn't there, we would still hear the guitar in the bathroom playing. So the nights that he wasn't there, it was like almost, because he was also in a stage where he was sneaking out, that kind of thing too. So we would always, if he snuck out or something, we wouldn't know. But, of course, like my mom would go down there, tell him, hey, can you stop playing guitar? And she'd go down there, and like nobody would be down there besides my little brother. and he had cerebral palsy. He was mental, so he didn't know how to play guitar. Okay, so it was just weird that we would always hear his guitar playing, even times when he wasn't there, and it would be the same tune over and over again for like hours. And then when you open the door, it would stop, because obviously you open the door and nobody's there. So you're like, okay, am I crazy? Was I just hearing this? Like, I don't know. So also the nights that my brother wasn't home, my little brother James, he has the one that I was telling you has cerebral palsy, he would always sleep on the couch upstairs. Okay, now probably about after like a month of us moving in, I would start getting waken up in the middle of the night to my brother. I would hear him come in my room, and then he'd like sleep at the end of my bed. Okay. You know, I wouldn't think nothing of it. You know, at first I was just like, you know, I don't know if like maybe he came in late and just fell asleep. Was he, you know, drinking too high to remember where his room was? I don't know. Not, you know, it's weed, but he was just smoking weed. But, you know, I never really questioned why he was sleeping at the end of my bed. You know, I'd just wake up in the morning and he would wake up. You know, my mom would always come in there and wake us up in the morning, and then she'd go downstairs and get James
also
ready.
Guys, I wanted to add this in here. Those mornings that I would always find my brother at the end of my bed, my mom would always go downstairs to get my little brother out of bed for school, and she would always find him with a bloody nose every single night that my brother was found at the end of my bed in the mornings.
And then, you know, everybody would just get ready, and my brother, you know, never mentioned anything, never said anything. Well, one day while we were at school, my mom was cleaning the house, okay? And my mom said that she saw Caleb come peeking like out of her bedroom door at her. And my mom was thinking, my mom and her fiance also smoked weed too. So I wanted to add that in there. So my mom thought that, you know, oh, Caleb must be in my room stealing my weed. So anyways, my mom went in there and Caleb was nowhere to be seen. So my mom's thinking, you know, maybe he just, you know, hopped through the window and then hopped out of the window, because she had a window in her room, you know, and it's ground level. So he could have just came in through the window and then left. Well, the thing was, when my mom called Caleb, my mom texted Caleb and said, hey, did you just come in the house? And Caleb said, no, I'm at school. And my mom looked at the time, and it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So Caleb hasn't even been out of school yet. But like I said, you know, she didn't think too much, okay, until, you know, a couple days goes by, and my mom is cleaning, you know, cleaning the house, because it's like because she was, you know, just had the baby, so she hadn't gone back to work yet. So she would, you know, clean up a lot while we were at school. My mom, we had a baby monitor. So my mom was cleaning the house, and out of nowhere, she heard this like really loud growling sound over the baby monitor. Well, we also had a dog at this time, so my mom was thinking like, oh shit, like the dog must have jumped up in the crib and he's in there with the baby. So my mom runs in her room, and the crazy part is there's no dog in there. Our dog isn't in the room. She walks in the room, no dog in sight. Aubrey's laying in the crib, baby monitor sitting right there. My mom turns around to look into the kitchen, and Red Dog is literally in the kitchen facing the door with his tail up and his ears up, just like on guard like this, staring at my mom's room. Right? On guard. He was standing in the kitchen staring at my mom's room with his tail up and like on guard, like something's wrong, right? Staring at my mom's room. So that was really, really weird, kind of freaked her out. Now, during this time, I also had a friend that literally was basically like living with us. For the first 2 months that we lived there, she was literally there like every single day, like literally she basically lived there with us for the first 2 months. Well, something happened to her, I'll get there, but you know, One day we wake up for school. She barely talked to me in the morning, didn't talk to me at school, and went home after school. She didn't come home with me, which is normal for her to come home with me every single day because she was basically living with us. Well, she didn't talk to me at all that school day. Literally went home, did not answer my text calls, nothing. Did not talk to me at all, right? Well, another month goes by and my brother finally walks up to my mom and sits down at the kitchen table and is like, Mom, something's wrong with this house. At night, I kind of see weird things. I see this big, giant black shadow come over my bed and I feel like I'm getting choked out, like I can't breathe. That's what he told my mom, that he couldn't breathe. And so that's why he was always running up the stairs, and I would always find him sleeping on the end of my bed because he was getting choked out at night by whatever this was, right? So my mom was like, that's when she started putting two and two together, about, the growling sound with the baby monitor, seeing Caleb in the room and he was at school, or different little things being moved around the house, or, those type of things, right? Now, she was also like, maybe Kyla, because the girl that was staying with me, her name was Kyla. She was like, maybe Destiny's friend saw something and that's why she hasn't came back. So my mom decided to reach out to my mom decided to reach out to my friend's mom. And my friend's mom basically told her that she was going to the bathroom and she saw something fly from, like a black shadow fly from the bathroom upstairs in the hallway all the way down the stairs. And it freaked her out so bad that she didn't want to talk about it. She didn't want to talk to me no more. She didn't want to come over and no more. It was all said and done. She wanted nothing to do with us. But we had found out that she, went home and she had this mark, this cut on her leg. And it's like, even, because after that night, she never came back. But it's like, as she was at home, this mark kept changing every single day. Like, one day it would be in the shape of a S, or the next day it would be in the shape of an H. Like, these things were really happening to her. Like, her scratch that she had that happened the night that she saw that thing fly down the stairs. After that, she didn't come back to our house ever again. So she said that every morning she would wake up when she was at home and she'd look at that scratch when she would get ready for school in the morning, and it would be like in a different shape. So she felt like she was being attacked by a poltergeist. That's truly how she felt. And she said that she didn't want to ever come back to the house. She thought, her staying away from the house would get these strange things to stop happening to her, the strange thing of her leg, the cut on her leg changing, and how did it get there? She doesn't remember scratching herself in her sleep. And it wasn't even like, when she sent us the pictures, this was a long time ago. I don't have the pictures now. I wish I did. I'd put them up here. But like, even in the pictures, you can see it's changing. Like, it would change. Like, she'd have like she sent us like 5 different pictures, between 4 or 5 different pictures, and each one, it looked different. It's like, what is going on here? What's happening? What have we got ourselves involved in? Like, it was very scary. I mean, I still feel like, my mom still feels like, things still happen to this day that remind her of that house, or maybe something followed her from that house. We never know, as the story continues. So basically, that kind of freaked my mom out. There were like weird things happening with me when I was living there. I started to become almost like I went through my goth phase where, it was weird because sometimes I would come home from school and I would find myself laying in my bedroom and like with my arms out like this, with my legs straight, just laying on the floor for hours, just, laying there. And my mom would come and get me for dinner and she'd be like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, almost as if like, I lost track of time. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. There was so much weird things going on there that, it finally, we all just, figured it out. Like, there's something wrong with this house, okay? So you know, my mom's fiance invited his brother and girlfriend over. So they came over, you know, we were all sitting around the kitchen table talking. They went outside for a smoke. I'm sitting there, you know, my mom told me to sit there, you know, Aubrey's in my mom's room, in bed, you know, for the night, because my mom put her to bed. So, you know, she said, you know, just sit here and listen to the baby monitor. If you hear Aubrey, just get up and, you know, rock her back to sleep. So I'm just sitting there watching TV, and I'm literally, you know, I'm sitting, because we had a rocking chair in the living room and then like a couch. So I was sitting there in the rocking chair, and the baby monitor was right here on the little side table. So I'm sitting there just watching TV, and out of nowhere I hear the baby monitor tell me to go to hell. I heard "go to hell" out of the baby monitor. I freaked out. I jumped up so quick, and I ran out the front doors, because they were all, because my mom didn't smoke in the house, like cigarettes and stuff like that. They would always smoke outside. So I ran outside, and I'm like, you know, freaking out. I'm like, I just heard this on the baby monitor. And then, you know, that's when my mom's fiance was basically just like, yeah, like, this is over with. We gotta go. Well, the brother, my mom's fiance's brother, decided, okay, well, how about this? I don't think the house is haunted. Maybe you just need to go downstairs, shut the lights off, and take some pictures. They're stupid. Literally, they're stupid. So what they did, they decided to shut off all the lights in the basement. They went down there with my mom's camera, and they started taking pictures. Well, out of nowhere, you hear them screaming, and they come running up the stairs. And my mom's fiance is like, I went to go snap a picture, and I saw like a demon face above like in the camera. So I saw a demon face like in the camera, and literally he's like trying to show us on the camera, whole entire camera wiped clean. The whole camera, not a single picture on the camera. Literally, my mom just got that camera a week ago from my grandma for her birthday. So then, you know, I don't know why, but my mom's fiance just gets this, just, I guess, feels like, you know, this is his house and get out. So basically he's, you know, kind of still freaked out from what he just saw, you know, taking pictures downstairs, that he literally yells down, because it was like, it wasn't like a basement door, like you had to open it up. It was literally like our living room, and you could look down into the basement, like, you know, we had the steps down, and it was like an open basement stairs, like you could see down it. So he yells down the basement, he yells down towards basement stairs, he yells, "This is my house, you need to get the F out." And literally the floors in the house started shaking like an earthquake, literally like an earthquake. Like, you seriously, like, literally when that happened, it was me, my mom, my sister, my mom's fiance's brother, and fiance's brother's girlfriend, and my little sister Aubrey, but she was a baby at the time. So everybody, you know, grabbed their stuff. We ran out the house, got in the cars, and we left. We went to my grandma's house for the night. And then, you know, the next, you know, we're telling everybody what happened. And, you know, I couldn't even sleep that night. Like, I could not go to sleep whatsoever, because I'm, you know, thinking about what just happened. And, like, you know, is this real? Like, this is my first experience. Like, this is crazy that all this stuff is going on. My mom didn't want us kids ever going back to the house. So they had actually, 2 days later, they ended up breaking the lease. They had to break the lease because they wanted out, so they had to pay money for that. And they got their stuff and they moved out. They didn't even want to be in the house. They didn't want to go back in the house. Basically, they went in, got the stuff that they needed, and got out. Left a bunch of stuff there that the owner that rented out the house had to clean out. So, you know, my mom starts kind of searching around, trying to figure out, you know, what's going on with this house, like, you know, what's happened here. Well, the story is that this man actually hung himself in the basement. Okay? And there's also a story that a woman overdosed in the living room. Not at the same time. These are within different years. But those are the things that like all the locals that have been, living in next to that house for like, generations have said. Nobody stays in that house for more than 6 months. It's constantly getting re-rented back out. Constantly things are happening. Now, after we moved out, we still went to the same school. We just moved back in with our grandma because we had to find, a new house. There was money problems because of breaking the lease at the old house. But this new girl came to the school. Well, her and my sister became like, she got on the cheerleading squad. Her and my sister became like close friends. One day the girl's like, hey, do you want to come over to my house after school? My sister's like, yeah, sure, that's fine. Where do you live? She's like, oh, I just live right down the street from the high school. No problem. Well, my sister didn't think anything about it until they're driving down the road from school. And she pulls up to our old house. And Maddie's like, I'm not going inside. I used to live here. This house is haunted, blah, 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 blah. And the girl's like, oh, trust me, I know. We know. She said, my dad has nailed crosses to every single wall in this house, and we have seen some crazy things. So she's telling my sister how, like, they've heard voices, shadows, they've had things knocked off dressers and, things like that. They've had crosses fall off the wall, that kind of thing. Well, here's the part that really, really gets to me, okay? So my sister's friend's dad ended up actually contacting a paranormal investigation team to come out to that house. So they've been working with the paranormal for over 20 years, okay? Now, when they went into the house, it was just them and their team, okay? Well, the one guy, he went downstairs. All the lights in the house shut off. I don't know what he saw. Nobody knows what he saw. Nobody knows what happened. This guy that had been working in paranormal and seeing things for over... So getting back to what I said, it has to be something very serious for somebody in that field for 20 years to just up and leave over something that happened one night. Okay? Now, the next story I'm going to tell you guys is kind of crazy. It's a trigger warning, if you're an addict or anything like that. But when we lived in this house, let's not forget that I was like between 13 and 14 years old when we lived in that house. Okay? So my brother is 2 years older than me. So right now I'm 25, so he's 27. So this happened actually last year. So like I said, we moved out of that house. People move in and out of that house all the time, but nobody ever stays for more than 6 months. Okay? Which at this time, I feel like the neighbors, every time they see people there to rent it, should come outside and tell people, hey, by the way, this house is extremely haunted. Like, it's bad. I've, heard so many stories from different people that have moved in and out of that house over the years that I've talked to, like, the locals. This town's really small, so it's kind of like everybody knows. Okay, so this next part that I'm talking about, this actually happened last year, but I just found out about it actually 3 months ago. So 3 months ago, I was kind of going through this thing where looking at religions and stuff, and I wanted, I was watching movies about like, kids dying and saying that they've seen heaven or this and that. So, it's something I've been like really interested in. So my brother's an addict. He is a heroin addict. He is in prison now. So he's actually overdosed twice, I want to say. Yeah, twice. Okay, so I asked him, I was like, when you, quote unquote, were unalive, did you see like anything, hear anything, you know, just asking him. He tells me no, but he says, do you want to hear something very scary? I'm like, yeah, of course I want to hear it. Well, he begins to tell me that, he says, you remember that last time I overdosed when I was out? And I was like, yeah. He was like, okay, so this is what the girl I was with told me happened. So apparently the girl said that they were driving around Herky, and Caleb looked at her and said, my brother looked at her and said, oh, I just got a taste in my mouth that reminds me of my old house. Now, they were just, you know, kind of doing, you know, at the time when Caleb was doing this, he was selling drugs. He wasn't doing them at the time because he knew that he had just got out. My brother's in and out of prison, jail all the time. So he's institutionalized basically. So he didn't really know this girl. This girl really didn't know him. She was just kind of giving him a ride, you know, to kind of take him to do his sales or whatever. So Caleb looks at her and says, I just got a taste in my mouth that reminds me of my old house. And she's just like, oh, okay. You know, not asking about it. She's just like, oh, okay, that's weird. Yeah. And she says that out of nowhere, she turns and looks at him, and he looks at her, and his eyes are completely black, and he starts laughing in a laugh that does not sound like his voice. And he basically took the pills that he was going to sell out of his pocket and threw them back, like snorted them back up his nose. And that time, he obviously overdosed. They had to shoot him with 7 things of Narcan to bring him back. He was on breathing tubes, a bunch of machines for a couple days. They literally told us, like, you know, this is going to cause brain damage. Like, you know, you should be expecting things. And when he told me that, I just got chills. My brother told me that, I swear it was the craziest thing I've ever heard. But that's actually, like, it's real. Like, these things are actually real. People experience them every single day. Like, it's just crazy. What we went through in that house, crazy. The things we saw. I mean, the floor literally shaking like an earthquake. And then literally, like, my brother driving past that house and his eyes turning black and laughing in a laugh she's never heard before. You know, obviously she didn't know him, but when she said it was a laugh that was not his, she was 100% serious when she said that. I mean, like, my family's talked to her since then, and like, her story still remains the same. So it's like, knowing in his head that if he even did the smallest bit of that drug, it was going to kill him. So for him, his eyes to turn black and start laughing and then just throw them all back, as many as he did, it's like, it's insane. It's crazy. Like, these type of things literally happen to people. Like, these people, like, spirits are among us. Things happen. Like, there are energies. Like, you know, like, there's a lot of unexplained things in this world. And, you know, I just wanted to share my story with you guys. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. I honestly never thought, you know, in my life before that, you know, that I always said when I was younger, like, they're not real. I don't believe in it until I saw it, and it happened to me firsthand. But I mean, it's just the world we live in. Like, it's things that are unexplainable, things that happen to a lot of people. There's a lot of stories. I mean, it's crazy. That's for sure. I mean, when we went through all of that, like, it was crazy. I mean, I was scared. Like, I was really scared when I heard that come across a baby monitor. Like, I threw it out of my hand, and like, and I got up and I ran outside, and I'm like, Mom, like, something like is going on. Like, this isn't something to play with. It's not something to play with. Like, you know, that's why they say never play with those type of things. Like, never play with Ouija boards, you know, don't go out there looking for that type of stuff. Just don't. Leave it to the professionals, literally. There's not a family that moves into that house that doesn't have a story. That's the thing. So, guys, I will insert the pictures of the house in the video for you guys, just so you can see what the house is giving. It's giving creepy, it's giving scary vibes for sure. Like, even you know, because my son is actually in the school that I used to be in, and you know, sometimes we have to drive past that house when, you know, we leave his school. If the other road's jammed, we'll go the other way. And even still driving past that house today, like, it gives me the chills. I just get chills all up and down my spine, all over my body. It's definitely energy there, that's for sure. There's something there, and it's unexplainable. That's all I can say about it. It is definitely unexplainable. So if you guys have any stories of your own, I would love to hear them. Comment down below how you guys feel about these type of things. Have you guys had any experiences of your own that you would like to share? I mean, comment down below when you felt, if you would have felt that floor shake underneath your feet, just to run outside and the ground not be shaking. There's no earthquake. I mean, comment down below. Let me know how you guys would have felt. I mean, my family was scared to death. Like, we were freaked out. When I say we got in the cars and left and never looked back, we never looked back. As always, see you guys next time.